All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ministry Revealed. It is an exciting time. March 27th, 2018. Wow. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, it's late nights just reading and studying, not really wanting to sleep and falling asleep as usual, though, in prayer and just in thinking about it. Guys, I pray that we are all accounted worthy to escape what's coming. It's the time. It's the time. Okay, get it? It is the time. If I'm wrong and all these others are wrong, you have to remember something. This understanding that I've been getting revealed had nothing to do with signs of Revelation 12 and getting caught up in the hype. This has all been Scripture teaching. All of it from Scriptures backed by Scriptures. Finding out that the tribulation is really 14 years and how it's divided. And guys, I wasn't looking for this stuff. It was all revealed to me through the Scriptures. I didn't have a clue 6-7 months ago what this stuff was. Do you get that? I've been given this information. I've been led to the info through the Spirit so that we can wake ourselves up. Wake me up too. But knowing the information, I had to share it. All right? It was my responsibility to share it because there's the verse that scares the crap out of everybody when they know some information and they don't share it. And I don't remember which one it is exactly, but that we'll have to account for that person's blood. Right? Because we knew the information and we didn't share it. That scares me. I don't mind having a couple little things off that I'm still trying to learn. And as you've been watching my videos, it grows in understanding and grows and grows and comes more clear. I don't mind along the way that I've misinterpreted something that the Spirit was showing me. Right? Prophets, I'm not saying I'm a prophet, but prophets have done that all the time. Right? They interpret what they were shown, and they were often thinking it was this, but really it was this. But when you're able to look back, they're like, oh my goodness, there it was. Right? Now, all my stuff isn't like that because I'm not a prophet. I'm just showing you directly from the Scriptures. I'm able to open up this understanding with a key that I was given all the way back on September 8th. Well, not really that long ago, right? 7 months or 7 months ago. On September 8th, 2017. And what a ride it's been since. I say these things because this will most likely be my last video. I am going to be redoing, but not for YouTube. I am going to be redoing a video, an intro video, and redoing my USBs because I've got more USBs that have arrived, and I'm going to redo the ones that I've had already finished. So those USBs, all the USBs are getting redone. Of course, the 14-year tribulation timeline, right? You guys know about this. I'm also printing off more than enough copies, and they're going to be left around with a letter, and they're going to be in the Bibles and taped with USBs are going to be taped to these Bibles that are around as well. And with the explanation and the understanding, the video, the 2-hour video I did on the 14-year understanding being revealed. That's all that is going to be there. So I say these things to let you guys know that if you have the ability to download this information, whether it be to your phone, whether it be to USB sticks or DVDs or however you can do it, printing off the 14 years and leaving a letter for people with the understanding that you've gotten of the 14-year tribulation timeline. All right, because they're going to be deceived with this understanding of 7 that's out there. And when their rapture doesn't happen in 7 years or in 3.5 years, they're going to think it's mid and it doesn't happen, and they got 3.5 years more for those that are surviving. Okay? Because guys, we have not begun the tribulation yet, the 14 years and change. Are we in the end days? Yes, because it's 21 years total. It began in 2010. It began in 2010. The Holy Spirit has been working for the bride since 2010. The bride is about to go this coming weekend, guys. I absolutely believe it by April 1st. those who are found accounted worthy to escape all these things, as Luke tells us, are gone. And we have time. There are a couple, 3 days, 4 days left, whatever it is. Right? We're Tuesday, so 4 or 5 days left at most to wake up, whether it be those that don't yet believe or those who do believe, but they're kind of haphazard and you could see the sin still in their life. Now is the time to wake them up like never before. And I don't know, there's no secret recipe. I don't know how to do it. None of our family, like outside of my personal family, my wife and I, of course, are Christians and are doing what we should be doing, we believe, to be accounted worthy. So are our children. I believe we've been blessed in that we're protected by that and doing what we should be doing in the name of the Lord. All right? Being obedient, how's that? Not works, but being obedient. It really, more than anything right now, and that I've been trying to get across with this last little bit in the last few videos, it's obedience, not works. That's not works. It's being obedient to how He would have you be. That's it. All right? That shows that you're His. And that's why there's a lot that have been deceived in the church. They've been deceived and just think Sunday and go home and, you feed me the word and that's good. I'm good for the week. No, you have to get into the word yourself. Right? But is there, like I was saying with my family, all my in-laws, my mom's a believer, my sister is a believer, but all the in-laws and my brother-in-law from my sister, but all my in-laws through my wife, none of them are believers. And it's going to take us, the bride, being escaped out of here and the tribulation beginning. We showed them, obviously we have our Sunday dinners, and then my sister-in-law and the nieces were over yesterday, and we talk about the food and water supplies that we have and some little bit of medical and personal care stuff that we let them know to get ready. It's here for if you guys need it. We've got Bibles here for you guys that we're going to leave on the counter if you're able to get here. If not, it'll be somebody else's. But you better find a Bible ASAP if you're not able to make it to our house. Because, like the Bible even tells us, they won't believe you in your own city. Right? So for us, it's within our own families. We can talk till we're blue in the face. And it for the most part, not always, but for the most part, it's not going to matter. It is going to take the tribulation to wake these people up. But you know what? We continue to pray for them anyways. Family and friends that we love. And I believe when we're gone, we will be praying for them in heaven as well. Absolutely. We will pray and pray and pray over them. And I believe they will. The ones that we've prayed for. I believe they will find their way. All of them, I don't know. I don't have any evidence in the Bible that tells us they'll all find their way. But, guys, it's coming. It is coming. Get ready. I keep remembering the dream that the Lord shared with me. The first one, right? The very end of September, I shared it with you on an October 1st video that I did. That meteorite, and how many videos, guys, have we seen, or have I seen personally since the dream that the Lord gave me, and it was the first dream I ever knowingly had from the Lord, was able to understand and perceive and know what it was talking about. And it was about before Passover. So, is that having to do with this Chinese satellite and people are going to look up freaking out? Or is this some sort of ploy which is why it's all over the media with this Chinese satellite that's crashing? I don't know. But we're going to see something here, I believe, by Friday. I'm telling you, in 3 days, something is going to take place on the 30th, I believe, that it's going to be a heavenly thing. I believe it's going to be the star thing that we're talking about. And see, believing that this is most likely my last video, I do have something planned and I will go into these things, but it's just, I'm letting the Lord just kind of take me wherever we go here until I get going into this, because, where were we looking at that? Shoot. No, I forget. But we know what's coming. We know that men's hearts, right? We know that men's hearts are going to fail them first, right? Now, what is enough to make men's hearts fail them? Well, see, in the stars. We know what this is, right? There's something coming, a single star from a constellation. I've seen that meteor thing coming down, and it wasn't this satellite. I don't believe there's going to be too much of that satellite when it re-enters. Whatever this is, it's going to land for the most part. There's going to be pieces on the east coast of America, but it is going to land in the Atlantic Ocean, and it's going to create a massive tsunami. It's going to be east, further out, maybe a few miles out, east, maybe not even a few miles out, east of New York State, right? That's it, just south of the American border if you were out in the Atlantic Ocean. And anybody on that east coast, I'm telling you guys, I am telling you, get out of there. Get out. If it's not by the 30th, it'll be by the 1st that tsunami will hit. But there is going to be this distress of nations with perplexity, the seas and the waves roaring. This is what's coming. It's going to hit. And it would appear that it's going to land before the bride goes. All right? It does appear that it's going to hit before the bride goes, because look. Then shall we see him coming. All right? I've showed you guys this word. Men's hearts failing them for looking after those things which are coming upon, or which are coming on the earth, to supervene. All right, look at that. Arrive, attack. I don't think this is an attack. This is not going to be some alien invasion, quote unquote alien invasion. I don't believe this is happening during the seals. I believe the alien invasion attack kind of false thing is going to happen during trumpets. And could I be wrong on that? I could be, but I don't believe that's coming in the seals. I believe it's when Satan and his guys, a third of the angels lose their battle in heaven, and those guys come down. Because their battle in heaven, that's the sun, moon, and stars heaven where that battle is taking place. All right, so you're looking at that after the year 2024. Okay? 2024 is your rapture. And we're going to talk about that too with a little bit of these years that I'm talking about, because something struck me yesterday to give more evidence on the 144,000. It doesn't really matter at this point to an extent, but it will for those that are going to be here later. All right? So we're going to touch on that as well. But look, there's many people out there, many teachers like the Carl Gallups and Irvin Baxter and some of these guys that believe that we're already in the seals and that we're waiting for the 5th or the 6th seal. Right? The 5th is kind of like spiritual, under the altar, so they couldn't see it. So that we're really waiting on the 6th seal. We're not. Even though I'm talking about this meteor that's coming, that's going to kick all of this off, that is not the 6th seal. All right? It's not the 6th seal. This is going to be what kicks everything off. The 6th seal is a separate event later in around the year 2023, give or take, going into 2024. All right? So let's have a look at that. Watch this. We're going to go into Jeremiah today. We're going to touch in a few spots, all right? So let's start getting into this. Look at Jeremiah 15. Watch this. And you could follow the progression of these things. You can follow it in, we're going to be in Revelation 3. We're going to be in Psalm 123. You can just follow the progression of these things by following this happens, then this happens, and this happens. All right? Listen to what it says here. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto you, where shall I go? Right? Where shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them. You see, we're all the way back in Jeremiah 15 here. See, then you shall tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as are for death to death, such as are to the sword, for the sword to the sword, such as are for famine to famine, such as are for captivity to captivity. Do you know what that's saying? Those that are during the first white horse rider, that are going to just die because of the events happening on the earth, then you're going to die there. Those that are meant for the sword, the red horse rider, war, those that are meant for the sword during the red horse rider, you're going to die there. Those that are meant for that are going to die at that. Those that are meant for the famine, which is the black horse rider. Those that are meant for the famine, that are going to die in the famine, are going to die in the famine. And those that are to captivity, that are meant to die and be beheaded and so forth in the captivity, which is the pale horse rider I've explained to you guys, they're going to die in the captivity. Death by events and things happening on the earth at the white horse rider, which is after the bride is taken this weekend, followed by the red horse rider and war, followed by famine after the war, followed by captivity, and in all four events of the seals, white horse rider time, red horse rider time, black horse rider time, pale horse rider time, those that are going to die during those times, you're going to die at those times. You were meant to go at those times. All right? And you can continue on and read this. I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord. The sword to slay, dogs to tear, the fowls of heaven and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. You didn't get caught in those other things? You can get caught now with the wild animals. This is just in seals, guys. There's no time to mess around with this stuff anymore. You get it? There's no time. It's about to begin. I went to Starbucks today and grabbed a drink, and there was a guy that looked like a homeless guy out there. I've spoken to him once before. We had a great conversation today. He is my brother. Right? He needed some help. We helped him a little bit last time and again, and we just had this whole conversation. He knows what he was talking about. And others would spit and scoff and all sorts of things. Right? Easy name to remember, too. His name is John. And I said, brother, we'll see you very soon. Right? He knows it. And his response was the same as my sister's. Even so, we should be living as if it's today. Every day we should be living as if it were to come and we weren't expecting it, we should be prepared, right? The perfect answer. The absolute answer of somebody who gets it. Right? Including to you, Mona. I believe you're probably listening. That's my sister. Okay, give me a sec. All right, so let's go back into here. All right, so what's really interesting, I'm going to be in a number of different things here, but in the last video, this is kind of like a continuation of the last video, because I wanted to go into Revelation 14 in the last video to give you guys a greater understanding of the remaining harvests after the bride, right? The bride is the first fruits of the first harvest. We have the first fruits of the grape harvest, which are going to work to bring in the main harvest of the wheat. All right, and you're going to notice something here when we get into this: the difference of reap compared to the difference of gather. It's really interesting. I came across it the other day, and you're going to see how all this ties in. And oh man, there's just so much. I'm not going to go over everything because there is just so much. I was sent this today on by a couple of subscribers, and I would recommend you guys go to it. It's Trinity Rich, right? So these guys, this is the one. It's been going around, I guess, today in the last couple days at least. This 8-year-old kid from Sweden in this dream or vision that he had, and he talks about 3 raptures taking place. And the reason for the 3 raptures is because the bride is the first one, and this is the one that he's really talking about here that's coming April 1st. He actually gave dates, this kid. Excuse me, he spoke about as well what comes on March 30th. That something's going to come on March 30th, something to do with a mountain, and we're all going to be gathered under this mountain. I'm not sure what that whole piece was about, unless it was this meteor coming, but I don't understand the assembling there on the 30th and then being all sent back to our homes to go in the escape on April 1st. So that part I don't understand. But when he's going into all three, when he says there's three raptures, so his dad is translating for him because he's there from Sweden, and his dad's translating it. And when he says there's three raptures, because the bride is the first, right? It's like the rapture. The second one is the 144,000. However, the 144,000, they don't quote unquote get raptured either. I mean, they don't get raptured. When the angel ascends from the east and tells those four beasts to hold on, we need to seal these guys first, right? The 144,000. They have what is called, and what we've read, they're the ones that have the open door, right? They're going to see that access route. They're going to be changed, these guys. They're going to be changed as well, these 144,000. They're going to be able to get translated all over the world. That's that second group that has that he's seeing as a rapture. And then there's a third group, which is the rapture of the church, but that'll be in the year 2024. All right? That about 7 years later. And then you're going to have the trumpets. And the 144,000 are going to be there for the trumpets as well. All right? And I'm going to show you some things. I've talked to you guys about this before. This here, the Bible Countdown Calendar from Steve Wirtz. He has figured out a number of years ago, that not only Psalms is part of the understanding of the count, and you could see what relates, but you can match up when you understand the number count of the books and the chapters. You can see the events happening in the future. But you have to know what those events are going to be and the timing of them. If you don't understand the 14 years of tribulation that I show you, if you don't understand the events and what takes place that I show you in the timeline, which you can print off in the description box of my video, or just go to the About on the Ministry Revealed channel, and it'll be there as well, in case I forget to add it to the bottom. But if you don't understand those things, you're not going to understand where it all fits. So if you still think it's 7 years, but we know that it's going to come to an end in 2031 into 2032 when Jesus returns. He sets his foot down, right? I believe it'll be late 2031, but again, fall of 31. However, how is that count going to take place based on from Gregorian to the Hebrew calendar? That'll be for them, all right? But that's what this kid is seeing here in those three raptures. And then he talks about how we go in a beam of light will essentially turn into like ghosts. So do you understand that, guys? Remember I told you? I've been telling you guys, we're going to be like lights. We're going to be made manifest, like I showed you in Romans 16, the end of Romans 16. And the world's going to see these lights, poof, gone. And it'll be millions of people. I've told you I believe it's going to be 144 million people. Only those who are left will be able to figure that out if they're listening to this video. All right? And you got to go listen to this video for yourselves. And what happens? He says the people that go are like ghosts. So if you're in an apartment building or whatever, you're going to float through all the levels of the building. Or if you're in a house, whether you're asleep or awake, it doesn't matter. And you're going to be like a ghost going in this beam of light. So do you understand that? Not going as bodies that have been resurrected, right? Even though I understand when the rapture of the church happens, when in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, right, we shall all be changed. Yes, but all those graves are going to open up and people are going to have these new bodies and go up. This isn't that. This is like our ghostly spirit, our spirit. Right? He says it's like we're ghosts, like, we're going to be able to pass through all these, doesn't matter what it's made of. We're going to pass right through it. Right? In these beams of light is what he's showing. And then in here we'll be turning into like angel-like, but he doesn't understand this here. This is probably where the opening comes, right? This is like the part from the sky to the universe, and it's going to open up. Something's going to take place, and we're going to break through, and then we'll be in heaven. You get that? So this is a great video to watch, guys. This is an 8-year-old boy from Sweden, all right? Now watch this one. This video was sent to me by my brother Mark that I've told you guys about. I've spoken about many times. And it's incredible. This is a VHS video. So see, you can just type this in YouTube and go find it. It's a long video, and it's very hard to hear because it's an old VHS tape. It's an old VHS tape. Brother Grubbs, he was born in 1913, died in 2009, and he had these events prior to the 80s, right? So for 37 years, I think he says in his video. And this is really wild what happens to him. And it gave me an understanding, another level of understanding with the 144,000. Because I've been saying this for a long time that if you look at World War II, well, that wasn't the end of the world, right? It was a foreshadow of what it's going to be like, but it's going to be way farther reaching when the end begins. Then you had, Hitler. Was Hitler really the Antichrist? But no, he sure had an Antichrist spirit. But was he the Antichrist? No. He was a type and shadow, right? He's a foreshadow of what it's going to be like. Saddam Hussein, his name means destroyer. Or the nuclear reactor plant that happened in Chernobyl, which means wormwood. Those were all foreshadows. But when the tribulation begins, it's going to be magnified, amplified, mega many times over. And this guy was a foreshadow, a type of 144,000 person. All through for like 30 some years of his life. And he gives stories of it. Having been to the moon. And he was throwing snowballs, he said, to them on the moon. And he says, you'll notice Armstrong look around like he's disturbed with something. Because it was him there on the moon. This guy was getting translated. Angels would show up. He'd walk down the street, go to an old telephone booth where he was along the way, and boom, he would get translated. His wife tells a story where his clothes were all just lying on the floor, and she was going to go pick them up, and the Lord told her, leave them. And what happened, she talks about it. She says, well, sometimes he was in the spirit, sometimes it was like he was gone, right? Sometimes he was in the spirit, sometimes he was out of the spirit. I've shown you guys that, right? I've shown you the scriptures on that. The stories and where this guy was, absolutely incredible. Do I believe it? Absolutely, because I understand the power that these 144,000 are going to have. And this guy got to experience that. He said sometimes these things were I don't even get it. I didn't really do anything. I didn't understand. But sometimes he saved a little girl out of a burning building and left his jacket. When he got back, he didn't have his jacket anymore. Yeah, other times when he was in China, he did something in China. He kept a coin and he put it in his pocket. When he got back home, he had the coin in his pocket and he showed it to his family. All wild, wild stuff because the Lord can use and do whatever he wants. Well, the reason I bring this up, this is going to be like a continuation of the last video when we were talking about Jared Kushner a little bit. Jared Kushner, listen to this, okay? Is Jared Kushner going to be the Antichrist? Or is Jared Kushner going to be the one who has Satan's spirit in him? Remember, there are three players. There are three players in tribulation. There's the Antichrist and the false prophet. They're to go after the Christians. When that portion is done, after seals and the rapture has taken place and the time of the Gentiles is over, it turns to Judah. And that is when there's going to start that 3.5 years are going to be rebuilding the city and the streets and so forth, even during troublous times. And then Satan's going to show up. He's going to be cast out of heaven. Now, is there going to be some big creepy man on earth? No, I think it's going to indwell in somebody. It's the Spirit. And where do we see that? Let me just see. Is it 20? Give me a second here. I'm going to find it. It's one of these guys here. It might actually be 21. Give me a second. If it's not right here, it'll be in 21. Yeah, it's in 21. So going in Revelation 21, what do we read about those three? Come on, it is 21, isn't it? Shoot. I always mix up where it is, and I'm just not doing a search right now to find it, but I'm sure you guys know which one I'm talking about. Right? That the three spirits come out of the dragon, the beast, right? The Antichrist, and the false prophet, right? Three unclean spirits like frogs coming out of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. Right? So there are three spirits like frogs that come out of them, which means what? Which means they were possessing people. Get that? They were possessing people. That's how they had these abilities. That's how they did these miracles and doing all these things. They were possessing people. Now it's bugging me because I can't find it. So what I'm getting at is they were possessing people. Now, I'm going to show you something because with what we saw about Jared Kushner and the Jared and Jerub that I showed you in the last video, it's pretty insane. But in this video here, and I never set it to the time, I don't know where it was. It was somewhere in this range here. But the interviewer, this lady, her husband is the one holding the camera, talking to this couple about these experiences that they've had. And she says, oh, what about, you saw the Antichrist or Satan. What did you hear? What did you know about him? And he says, the first thing he says was that he was 47 years old. Now you got to remember, this is back in 1980 or 80-ish. But when he saw it, I think it was like 50s or 60s, maybe 70s, when he was shown that at that time, Satan would be 47 years old. Okay? What do we know in our 10-year timeline? I mean, our 14-year timeline. Let's look at this. All right? You have 3.5 years. The Antichrist is given power to continue. This is where your pale horse is. This is where the beheadings and all the killings, the captivity comes in. The 144,000 gets sealed. You can watch the 2-hour video I did on this if you haven't already. And then you have the rapture of the church, the 6 months of silence, right? The half-hour of silence in heaven, 6 months, they're relaxing in heaven and being shown around, all right? And they're going to rebuild Jerusalem, right? It's going to get rebuilt because it would have been destroyed, and they're going to rebuild the city and the street, and then Satan's going to be cast down when? At the 10-year mark, the 10.5 year mark. Watch where we see that in Scripture, right? You guys know this one. Psalms 90 verse 10, right? Psalms 90 verse 10. This, guys, this is beginning May 14th, 2018. The days of our years, a generation, is 70, which is 70. And if by reason of strength it is 80 years, which is 80 years in this understanding, as it shows, then your strength is labor and sorrow. Tribulation, guys. For then they'll be cut off, and then we fly away. This fly away has nothing to do with the rapture. This is speaking of all of Judah's time. From the beginning of tribulation, from the 70 years to the end of the 80 years. And then what are they going to do? They're going to fly away like we see when Satan is cast out of heaven and his spirit gone into a man here on earth at the 10-year, I believe 10.5 year mark from when it's all begun at the 10-year mark. Okay, 10.5 years. Okay, you ready? Watch this. 10 years from where we're at right now. All right? That puts us in the year 2028. And the year 2028 leaves that 3.5 years, which is the time times and half a time. Right? This is Revelation 12. Right? This, we're going to see this event. This is going to be the star that we're going to see. Then you're going to have the tribulation. You're going to have the sixth seal. You're going to have the 144,000 sealed. You're going to have the rapture. You're going to have the second beast, the false prophet, and his minions flee into the wilderness. Dragon, Satan, and Michael are going to be having their fight with their angels. Satan's going to lose. He's going to be cast out. And when Satan is cast out, what does he do? He goes after Judah. And she is given wings of a great eagle to fly into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared for where she has a place where she is nourished for a time, times, and half a time. 3.5 years. This is when Satan is going after Judah now, when he's cast out. All right? This is the year 2028. 2028. And I showed you, well, you guys, I didn't quite show you. You're going to have to go watch the video for yourselves. This couple in the 80s, early 80s, talk about his experience when he was shown who Satan was and that he was 47 years old. This, I'm telling you guys, it's worth watching. It's hard to listen to, especially when she speaks, but it's worth watching to hear what this guy says. There's so many incredible things in there. And he is a type and shadow, like I said, of what the 144,000 are going to be able to do. All right? That's what's going on with this guy. Why? Because those people are in those churches right now around the world. There are people that are going to be the 144,000 that are alive now. They're not going to be indwelled with this spirit, with this ability, though, until that time of the year, and yes, it's going to be the year 2023. I'm going to show you where it is in the year 2023. It's going to blow your mind. That is where the 144,000, the time that the 144,000 will be sealed. All right? And that's what this guy is. It's just like Smyrna, the church of Smyrna. Everybody who's getting beheaded for their faith and being killed for their faith right now around the world for the last 2,000 years, they are from the church of Smyrna. You get it? These churches have been around since the time of Christ. Before, obviously. But from Christ's time till the time we're at now, there are people within these churches all around the world. He would be part of the Church of Philadelphia, which is why he was one of those guys given this ability. But when the year 2023 comes and these specific 144,000 have abilities and are indwelled with the Spirit of Christ and cannot be killed, cannot be poisoned, I mean, you have to understand, these guys are going to have ability to go from here to there like Philip did. Remember Philip with the eunuch? Right? Baptizes him in the water. The eunuch gets out of the water, and Philip's already in another part of the country. Translated. Right? Transported from here to there. Just like that. Just like this guy was experiencing. That's what it's going to be like for these 144,000. Amplified compared to what this guy was doing. Sometimes he didn't even understand why these things were happening. Other times, I mean, he did things, with nuclear stuff from the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis. He was the guy in the spirit doing things. And sometimes he was seen. It's so wild. You guys got to watch it. But I really bring it up because he was shown that the guy was going to be 47 years old. So first thing I do, I go to check, Obama, how old was Obama? So is it possible, as I'm going through this, is it possible maybe Obama is the Antichrist, but then that would make Jared, could it be that Jared is going to be the one possessed by Satan at first? You got to remember, they're going to believe that, they're going to believe, are they going to believe the Antichrist, or are they going to believe when Satan comes down at first? Not those that flee, but the other ones, when that person receives the indwelling spirit of Satan, right? Not given power by Satan, but gets the indwelling spirit of Satan, is in 10 years from now. It is another confirmation. This is why it's so exciting, guys. It's another confirmation. What I'm about to show you is another confirmation of the exact moment we're living in right now. 10 years from now, starting May 14th, the 70 years is up. And if it be 80, those first 10 years of tribulation, that's going to apply to all the time of Judah as well. But the Israel portion is going to be the first 6.5, 7 years. It's going to continue and turn to Judah. And then the last 3.5 years, they flee for that total of 14 years. 10 years from this year. 10 years from this year. When Satan loses his battle in heaven, has come down to the earth in the spirit and dwells in a person, this guy said he's going to be 47 years old. Are you ready, guys? Watch this. I was freaking out. Guys, if you knew what it was like to be me in this house, man, and reading these scriptures and then just saying, well, let me check this, and boom, 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 boom. I don't know what to tell you guys. Jared Kushner is 37 years old right now as we're speaking. He turned 37 years old this year. 10 years from now, in the year 2028, he's going to be 47 years old. He's the senior advisor right now to the President of the United States. He's the one putting together the peace agreement with world leaders from the Middle East right now as we speak at the White House. And their visit isn't a couple-day visit just to chit-chat and then be done and nobody get anything done again. This guy is the guy slated to make it all happen. It ties into the Saudis and oil. It ties into all sorts of things to make a massive deal to get Jerusalem peace deal done. Is it going to get done today, or is it going to be revealed this coming week? I don't believe so. Because America would get split. America is going to get destroyed when they say peace and safety, and you're going to hear that and you're going to see that probably around the year late 2023 into early 2024. Actually, no, I would say probably into around mid-2024. Why do I say that? Because that's when America gets destroyed. The rapture is going to take place, and America is going to get ripped apart. She's going to be divided in two. Get it? We all been taught this. America is going to be divided in two in early mid-2024. The church will still be here, experiencing it. The 144,000 will be sealed, and then the rapture of the church is going to take place. You know, is it going to get, maybe it gets destroyed, maybe it gets ripped in two late sometime in 2023. I'm not sure. But it's somewhere in there, late 2023 to sometime to mid-2024, America is going to get ripped in two. Why? It's going to be at the time when they say peace and safety. They will have divided America, and America will get divided and ripped apart. And this man, in 10 years from now, in the year 2028, when the spirit of Satan, when he gets kicked out of heaven, when Satan's kicked out of heaven, be careful of this man. Watch for this man, those of you listening to this in the future. If these USBs have made it for those doing those USBs and copying this information around the world. This old man, 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago, 40 almost years ago, and it happened prior, said that he was going to be 47 years old. Do you guys get that? Do you guys get it? And he's the one whispering in the ear to the President of the United States right now every day. He's the one that's been given the keys to get it done. This 37-year-old man has been given all this power. Guess what, guys? Judah, the Jews, are not going to follow Obama and worship Obama. Do you get it? They're not going to believe for a second Obama is their savior. Not a millisecond would they ever believe Obama was their savior. And we know the Jews are going to believe the lie. We know it already. Say hello. I pray this information is saved and makes it through so much of this stuff that people will have it to share with others. It is March 27th, 2018 right now. All right? Needed to finish that one up. I'm not going to, I don't know how long I'm going to be, okay? This is, like I said, most likely the last video. But let's watch this. Okay. Let's go back into Revelation 14. Watch what we see here. This was incredible. I saw this less than a week ago as I was going through this. I had never noticed before there's 4 angels involved here. Right? Well, this one here, it's not an angel. This one is the Son of Man. Then there's another angel comes out, says stick it in and reap. Then there's another angel with a sickle. And then there's another angel that tells him to go ahead and do it. There's 4 of them. It was interesting, right? I never really paid attention that close to it before. Now listen, here we are in Revelation 14:14. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud sat one like the Son of Man. Because it is the Son of Man coming on a cloud, all right? Having on his head a golden crown. Why? Because he's married now. He's received his crown. The bride is already in heaven. So look, the bride is already in heaven. What do we see early in Revelation 14? There's your 144,000. So bride is gone, right? First fruits of the wheat is gone. First fruits of the grapes has been sealed, and it overlaps with the first fruits of the wheat because they're going to gather in the wheat. And look at this. Now you have the rapture of the church, and then you're going to have the gathering of the grapes. This is right to the end. This is the gathering, and then you're going to see where everything goes into the winepress, right? This is right to the end. This is to the return of Christ right here. So what do we have here? We have the last 7 years, maybe 7.5 years or so from this point to the end. That's what Revelation 14 is the last, say, 7 years approximately of tribulation. All right? Watch this. So we have Jesus sitting on a cloud. He has the sickle, right? And it said, and another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in your sickle, he says to Jesus. Look at this. And reap as of a crop to harvest, right? For the time is come for thee to reap. For the harvest, right? The harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle in the earth, and the earth was reaped. This is your rapture of the wheat harvest. All right? The crop, the wheat harvest. And you want to see the difference? Watch this. I had never caught this before, and you're going to see it in other scriptures we're going to go into. It's your difference between your wheat and your grape, your wheat and your fruit harvest, all right? I showed you that actually a little bit in the previous video. You have what? You have a sheaf, right? You have a bundle for the waving of the wheat. Whereas the fruit, you bring in, they would bring in the first fruit offering into the temple, and it was a basket of fruit or a basket of grapes. Get it? First fruit of one, first fruit of another, then you've got to reap one, and what do you do with the other one? It's not a reaping, it is a gathering. See, this one was all reap, 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 reap. When it comes to the fruit and the grapes, right, fruits, it is all about gathering. They're not reaped, they're gathered. All right? And another angel came out from the altar, which had power. Oh, wait, let's go up here. And he had sat on him, and he had reaped. Okay, yeah. And another angel, so now we're at the third one coming out. You had Jesus on the cloud. You had an angel come out, tell him to reap, and he reaps. Then you have another one, now comes out of the temple, which is in heaven, having also a sharp sickle. And another angel came out. Jesus and now 3 angels have come out. right, from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, the second one that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in thy sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine. Are they gathering the vine? No, they are gathering the clusters. Because it's a gathering. This is the grapes. It's not reaping, it's gathering. The clusters of the vine. They're not gathering the vine, they're gathering the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth and what? Gathered. There it is again. See? This is your reap. This is your gathered. Meaning ripe fruit. You get it? The gathering of the fruit. Those are the two harvests. Where does the first harvest go? This one's going to heaven. This is going up into paradise. The gathering one, where are they being gathered to? They're being gathered into Israel, into Jerusalem to be protected. While what? While those on the outside of the ark. Remember that timing? That Matthew 24? Remember I keep telling you, Luke is speaking to the bride. Mark is speaking to Israel / the churches. Matthew is speaking to Judah. Escape. 144,000 sealed. Rapture. Judah, who remains, the Israelites, who remain to have their 1,000 years on earth. All right? And they're going to be gathered into the ark, gathered into Jerusalem from around the world. And what's going to happen? Then they're going to gather the vine, not the grapes, but the poison vine that's around the earth, and they're going to cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And it should be trodden down, what? Outside the city. Because everybody's coming against it, and it's going to be crushed, and we know this one, right? It's going to be as high as the bridle of a horse, and what is it, 1,600 furlongs long. Massive amount, just pure destruction at the coming of Christ. That's your difference right there. Now watch this with your 144,000. What do we know about the 144,000? Watch this. I spoke to you guys about this before, right? This is that Steve Wirtz that figured out this countdown calendar, that the Bible is on a countdown clock. He understands that I do, that it ends in 31 and 32 is the beginning of everything. Right? The 1,000-year millennium beginning in the year 2032. He's figured this out, and I came across this guy months after I came to the understanding of the 14 years and the time that we're in. This guy had understood this and put this together years ago in late 2000s, like 2008 or 9 or something like that. And I just came across this guy in the last couple months. Well, now watch this. I've shown you guys that the year, based on what he shows us, the year 2024 is the relation to Revelation 4, as well as Psalms 124, right? And you can see that it's also Jeremiah 17, right? Right here and right here. And we also know, like I said, from doing the Psalms count, you're always going to find it there as well. And we covered that before, right? That in the rapture time, in Psalms 124, that they were freed, they were escaped, right? They were freed from all getting killed. Let's go to it real quick. 2024 is the representation. Psalms 124 is the representation of 2024. Seeing if it had not been the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us, they would have swallowed us up quickly when their wrath was kindled against us. The waters would have overwhelmed us, right? I showed you they escaped from the snares. The snare is what? The snare is a metal sheet pounded thin. It's called guillotine and the sword. Get it? The year 2024. Pentecost of the year 2024, around the time frame of June 12th, 2024. May not know the exact day and hour, but it is in that time frame that the rapture is going to happen. All right? So then I started thinking, well, wait a second, what about, the 144,000 getting sealed? We know that the 144,000, after the sixth seal, we see this here. The 144,000 are getting sealed before the rapture takes place. All right? So how much longer before? Well, I figured it's probably going to end up being 6 months before. And if I've already figured out, right, we've already got this figured out, that in the year 2024, I've shown you guys, the year 2024, June 12th, Pentecost of the year 2024, let me go to it real quick, is going to be the rapture of the church. Just like when Pentecost, right, it began, the body is going to go at Pentecost. All right, that's where the body's going to go. And it turns out that this Pentecost in the year 2024 is the furthest one out compared to any other Pentecost in the next like 15, 20 years that I've checked, maybe even further. All right? It is the furthest one out. Why? Because the harvest is going to be great. Right? Just like we read in Luke and in other places, Luke 10 and other places. It's going to be a great harvest. So it pushes it out late. And what does it do? It overlaps with the first fruits of the grape harvest. Hence your 144,000 getting sealed before the rapture takes place. And they help bring everybody together. Okay, so we've covered this before. Now what if we go back then? Check this out, guys. What if we go back 6 months on our Gregorian calendar, on the Gentile calendar? Why? Because the time of the Gentiles is not over until the rapture of the church in the year 2024. You get it? We see that already. Revelation 11, the time of the Gentiles of 40 and 2 months. That's because the time when the beheadings and everything else. I've covered that in other videos. All right? If you go back 6 months from June 12th of the year 2024, do you know where you end up, guys? This is incredible. Just how the Spirit leads me to this understanding, to find this stuff. It's unbelievable. December 12th of the year 2023. You guys know this time. Remember before, in previous videos, like in late November and into December, I was still under the impression, from having listened to teachings of other people over the years, that the bride was the Church of Philadelphia. Like so many of you might still think, that we've been taught the Church of Philadelphia is the bride. The Church of Philadelphia is not the bride of Christ that is going here April 1st. The Church of Philadelphia is the 144,000. And I'm going to show it to you even more so. We've covered this a little bit before, right? How is the bride of Christ, which I've explained, they are within the churches, but they are not the church. They were within it, but they're going to be removed out of it. And if the bride of Christ is gone, how on earth are those that are of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie? Behold, I will make them to come and worship before your feet. What? How on earth is that possible when the bride is gone? Because who is going to come worship at whose feet? Those that are the synagogue of Satan are going to come worship at the feet of the 144,000. That is what's happening. All right? What about this? I know thy works. Behold, I have set before you an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast little strength, and hast kept my word, and have not denied my name. Why is there going to be an open door before them? Remember their ability, guys. They're going to be getting translated all over the world. They're going to get strength renewed by visiting with Christ. This is your second rapture that kid's talking about. These guys are going to have this ability, and this kid saw it as like another rapture. That's why they walk with the Lord. There's an open door set before these guys at all times. We read that in other scriptures too, in the Old Testament, right? They knew where that door was, where was it Joshua? Right? That's where the door to heaven was. You can see the angels coming up and down. The 144,000 are going to have that ability. That's who the Church of Philadelphia is. They're not the bride. Look, they're given a crown. The 144,000 are given the crown because they're going to rule and reign with them for 1,000 years. They are your 144,000. And I'm going to show it to you and prove it to you yet again. Remember when we did the year count? Remember we did the year count? And you go to James, which is the 20th book of the New Testament, and you count the chapters, right? Where it takes you. And if you count to the year, so this is the year 2000, right? 2001, 2002, 2003, and you do the count. When you get to the number 24, the year 2024, when you get to the year 2024, it takes you to Revelation 4. What do we know? Yes, there's an open door, but this door is going to be open for a moment. And what does everybody like to talk about behind the pulpit when they talk about pre-tribulation? Right? They talk about how after this in Revelation 4, when you see an open door, there is no mention of the church anymore. Hello? And the number count for the year 2024 that I've shown you guys is the year of the rapture of the church is in the year 2024. And the number count from James to the year 2024 takes you to Revelation 4. Where after this, there's the open door for them. Boom, they are taken, and you no longer hear of the church being spoken about until the end of the book of Revelation. You get it? So then I started thinking, well, look, let's go a step further. Well, let's go into what I was saying with the 144,000. With the 144,000, if they get sealed 6 months before, like we could see this kind of timing when we were in Revelation 7, and we know that what? Revelation 8 has what? The space of half an hour for silence in heaven for about the space of half an hour, this thing dealing with 6 months. And we go 6 months back in the count from the date of the rapture that I showed you guys in the year 2024, and it brings us to Hanukkah, the middle of Hanukkah. Remember in November and early December of last year, of 2017, before we had this understanding of who the bride really was, we were thinking that the bride was the Church of Philadelphia, which we couldn't help but point to Hanukkah, because everything in Hanukkah was pointing to the bride in the Church of Philadelphia, or what we understood as the bride. It was pointing to the Church of Philadelphia. You see where I'm going with this? Hanukkah absolutely points to the Church of Philadelphia. Who is the Church of Philadelphia? The Church of Philadelphia is also what? A pillar, right? I will make you a pillar. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It's in here somewhere. There it is. I will make you a pillar in the temple of my God. It's the 144,000 that are the pillars in the temple of God. Right? What else? Well, actually, let's watch this. Let's go to this year count. The year 2023. Watch this. I just showed you that 6 months back from June on our calendar for the Gentiles, 6 months back from June of 2024 brings us to December 12th, Hanukkah of the year 2023. Of the year 2023. In which book is it found? Where is the correlation to the year 2023? Which book? Revelation chapter 3. What do we find in the book of Revelation in chapter 3? The Church of Philadelphia just so happens to be in Revelation 3. Oh, I'm not done. It gets way better. All right? So here we are in this count now. What else do we know about Hanukkah? Let's have a look at Hanukkah. I don't need that, just to give me the reminder where we're at. What do we know about Hanukkah? And what do we know about the 144,000? All right, let's go into Hanukkah. Watch this. All right? John 4, verse 35. Say you not, there are yet 4 months. Remember, we were talking about this. This relates to Hanukkah time. We were saying there are yet 4 months. We were talking about these scriptures here in early December about the bride being the Church of Philadelphia when we used to understand that. But definitely all of this understanding, once Hanukkah passed in the year 2017, we were kind of left baffled and confused as to how come that wasn't the time of the bride. Because everything was lining up with Hanukkah. Pastor Sandy, I remember him talking about it too, like, come on, everything was lining up for Hanukkah, for the bride. It's because Hanukkah is the Church of Philadelphia. And the Church of Philadelphia is not the bride. Watch this. Jesus tells them, you say the harvest is yet 4 months. 4 months from Hanukkah is the spring, the early fruits, the first fruits. All right? Is the beginning of spring. And Jesus says, what? I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white and ready to harvest. And he reapeth, and he that reaps, check this out. I just showed you guys Revelation 14, difference between reaping and gathering. And he that reaps receives wages and gathers fruit unto life eternal. The 144,000 are going to be the ones assisting in the reaping, which they will receive wages for, somehow, whatever that means. And then they're going to be the ones responsible for the gathering of the fruit. Reap, just like I showed you. They're going to reap and receive wages. They're going to reap the harvest that's going to get raptured. And then they are going to be responsible for gathering, collecting, assembling the fruit. The fruit for Judah, the Israelites that are going to remain. All right? So this is talking about the 144,000. Oh, I'm going to show you something. It's going to get better than this. Where else do we see? The only place we see the direct. Now, this is like we know that this is talking about the time of Hanukkah. We know it from the 4 months, and you guys say yet 4 months, and we know that, all right? The time of Hanukkah, this is talking about. And it's speaking about a group that are told to lift up their eyes. All right? In John 10, we know John 10 is about what? The Feast of Dedication. The only time we see the Feast of Dedication, which is Hanukkah, in the New Testament. All right? And it was winter. This is Hanukkah. All right? And the word Hanukkah, right? The Feast of Dedication, which is Hanukkah, it's from this word, and it means renewal. Check this out. Renewal of what? Of religious services after the Antiochian sorry, interruption. What is this? Guys, you can go do a study on all this. I'm not going to go into all of it, but you can go do a study of this and find out why they celebrate the Feast of Hanukkah. And it had to do with a Syrian king who invaded Jerusalem, and he sacrificed a sow on the altar. Guys, it's history repeating itself, all right? It is all right there. Well, guess what? It's the interruption, and once that is over, there is a renewal. When? when the time of the Gentiles, when they've finished the trotting over for the 42 months, the final 3.5 years of the seals, it's a renewal to the time of Judah, a renewal in the temple. Like Daniel says in Daniel 9, when they're going to rebuild the city and the streets unto Jesus Christ, Messiah the Lord, because the whole world will have seen him in a cloud. You get that? And it's going to be renewal. Look what it says. New, freshness. Right? Look at after that number, wealth, G3135, is properly so with respect to age. Meaning a new age is going to begin. The time of the Gentiles for the last 2,000 years is over at the rapture. And when is this all going to kick off? At the sealing of the 144,000 at the Feast of Dedication at Hanukkah in the year 2023. Okay, Alan, what else relates to the year 2023 then? All right? So we see Revelation 3, I showed you guys, right? Revelation 3 in the number count lines up to the year 2023. And we had the Church of Philadelphia in it, right? We know that Psalms, well, before I do that, let me give you guys a reminder. We know that the 144,000, we saw the explanation that it said what for Hanukkah? Lift up your eyes, right? What else do we know about them? It says that they were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. A lot of people like to argue that this is just a spiritual thing. It is a spiritual thing, but it is also a physical thing. That they were not defiled with women. They're virgins. They're unmarried. No children. All right? And these are the first fruits unto the Lamb. We covered this in the last video, remember? They're from the second first fruits. The first fruits was in Romans 16. All right, let's cover that just real quick. The first fruits, oops, it's up here. The first fruits is this group right here, who are the first fruits unto Christ. The second first fruits, see, they're going to be gathered at Pentecost. Covered it in the last video. The second first fruits is who? They're from the house of Stephanos. Stephanos, it means what? The crowned ones. They're crowned. The 144,000 who are going to be crowned and rule and reign with them for the 1,000 years. All right? What's their job? They're not going to Christ. They have addicted themselves to the ministry of the saints. Right? We've covered that already. All right? So we know that they're virgins. We know that at Hanukkah, it's the time of looking up, right? Lift up your eyes. Revelation 14 tells us that they are virgins. So let's see what else we can tie into this time frame. We saw Revelation 3 that ties into the year 2023, and we saw the Church of Philadelphia there. Let's go to Psalms 123. We just automatically know Psalms. We didn't need the Bible code one for that. We just knew that from history. People have been teaching that. Let's see what Psalm says. Right? Right off the bat. Psalms 123 for the year 2023. Let's see what it says. Unto thee lift I up mine eyes, O thou that dwell in the heavens. Lift up mine eyes. Didn't I just show you that? That's for the feast of Hanukkah. 6 months back, that period of rest and of 6 months, I believe, on the earth. Go back 6 months from the rapture time. You have the 144,000 who are going to get sealed. Our eyes weighed upon them, right? Behold, as the eyes of servants look upon the hand of their masters, and as the eyes of the maiden upon the hand of their mistress, so our eyes wait upon the Lord God. This is your 144,000 that it's talking about. Lift up my eyes. I lift up mine eyes. That's exactly what I was showing. And even in the previous videos in November, December, when we were talking about Hanukkah. The 144,000 are going to be sealed at Hanukkah. Well, I'm not done. Where do we get more evidence? 2023, the year 2023. We were talking about Jeremiah 15 earlier. Let's see what happens in Jeremiah 23. Jeremiah 16, which is the year for 2023. All right, let's have a look. Get ready. I've shown you the characteristics of those who are the 144,000. Lifting up thine eyes, virgins, the Hanukkah time frame. Watch this. Here we are. What happened in Jeremiah 15? We see it's talking about this stuff with the tribulation. All these things have taken place, right? They're going to be removed. The rapture, but before the rapture, what's going to happen? People are going to be dying all over the place. All sorts of ways of different death. And if you didn't die by these things, you're going to be torn up by animals and eaten by animals. All right? You're getting late now into the seals of tribulation. And then what happens in Jeremiah 16? The word of the Lord came also unto me, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife, neither shall you have sons or daughters in this place. Hello, the 144,000. They are not to take wives, nor have kids in this place. Where? In the Western world, in America, because it's going to be destroyed. For thus saith the Lord, concerning the sons, right? Those that are in this land. Those sons and their daughters that are born in this place. Concerning their mothers that bear them. Concerning their fathers that beget them in this land. They shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented. Nobody's going to cry or care about them. Nobody's going to bury them. They're going to be as dung upon the face of the earth, and shall be consumed by the sword. Hello. By famine. Hello. And the carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and the beasts of the earth. The rest of the world is going to say, oh my, but they're not going to cry over them for the most part, because America will be destroyed. And listen to what it says right off the bat. The exact relation to the time frame of the 144,000 to the exact year I was revealed in 2023 of the 144,000, and the scripture that relates to the year 2023 is Jeremiah 16, and it says, you shall not take for yourself a wife nor have kids. Why? Because they are virgins. And we go into the other relation in the year, or we go into Psalms 123 for the year 2023, and it says, lift up your eyes, because it's for the time of Hanukkah. And we go into the other relation, which is Revelation 3. And in Revelation 3 is the church of Philadelphia. Guys, do you get it? The bride is not the church of Philadelphia. The bride is scattered throughout the churches and is about to go. She is going. We are going, guys. Wake everybody up, and if they don't want to listen, move on and pray that their ears, their brains will be tweaked once it begins. That something will spark in their mind and say, oh my goodness, this person just told me this. Imagine millions of people vanishing from around the world, guys. Suddenly vanishing from around the world. Driving cars, buses, planes, trains. Suddenly vanishing. Cars. Accidents and chaos around the world. Death. The first one. Death by events that have happened because of the escape of the bride. All around the world. All around the world. We're there, guys. We're beyond time is short. You can almost say there's no time left. There is, but you could almost say there's no time left. You get it? Guys, we're there. Kids are seeing it. right? We know that in the end days, as this is all approaching, the dreams and so on and so forth, it's still the early part of it. When it really kicks in the end days, once the bride is gone and it really kicks in, dreaming dreams and visions and all these things and prophesying for those that believe, and the great harvest that is coming of all those we've been praying for that missed being the bride, that will have died this way or that way, that'll get resurrected before. They will not precede those that get raptured. The dead in Christ are going to rise first. Is it late 2023 or right before them in the year 2024? I would think it's somewhere early in 2024. Right before the rapture, though, of those that are still alive. Right? 1 Thessalonians is to the is to the churches. 2 Thessalonians is to Judah during the time of tribulation. All those firsts and seconds. But there is going to be a revival like never seen before. And whether you die through it, or whether you make it through to the tribulation, or whether you're beheaded at the time of the fourth rider, the pale horse, guys, we love you. We will be praying for you day and night in heaven, for all of our loved ones, for all of our family and friends that didn't make it. And we will see you all soon. There is no time left, guys. There is no time left. Days. Guys, do you see that? There's not even a week left. Do you get that? There is not even a week left. Please, guys, share this. Share it. Get it out there. Copy it. Leave this information behind. Download this chart. Let's leave as much as we can. That's what I'm doing for the next couple days, is copying and downloading, redoing an intro video, right? Giving all the information we possibly can for whoever will receive it during these upcoming end days. All right, guys? I pray this reaches you, that you understand it, that you see it, that the understanding is there, that we can share it to those, and that for those left behind, which is the bulk of my ministry that the Lord revealed to me, is for those during the time of the end, once it's begun, that you guys will hear this, that somehow this information will make its way out there, and you'll receive it and understand it and know it and share it. God bless you all. God bless you all. God bless you all. In Jesus' name, turn from your sins. Repent from your sins. Repent and be obedient to Christ. Be obedient. Repent and accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Get baptized in the Holy Spirit. And we will see you all very, very soon. God bless you and have mercy on each and every one. Amen, amen, and amen.